Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the channel where we don't buy into glossy headlines or manufactured redemption arcs. If you're here because you're tired of the endless media games and sick of watching public figures rewrite their own history, then you've absolutely come to the right place. Here we celebrate Harry and Meghan. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because what I'm about to say today, you won't hear it from the mainstream networks. Now let's get straight to the heart of the matter, because today we're going to pull back the curtain on Lorraine Kelly. You know the one, the national treasure of British daytime TV, the ever-smiling, soft-spoken hostess who's been building her brand as the friendly face of morning television for decades. But behind that carefully cultivated image, the story is far murkier than she'd like you to believe. In fact, what we're seeing right now is one of the most blatant PR rewrites in recent memory. Suddenly, after years of cozying up to the very forces that vilified Meghan Markle, Lorraine is now positioning herself as a voice of kindness. She's out here encouraging people to give Meghan a break, talking about how Meghan's just a working mother doing her best, and how we all ought to be more understanding. Well, forgive me for not buying it, because the reality is Lorraine Kelly has spent years doing exactly the opposite, and many of us haven't forgotten. Let's be very clear here. Lorraine didn't simply sit silently on the sidelines while Meghan was being dragged through the mud. No, she actively provided a platform for some of the nastiest, most racist and misogynistic voices in the British media. Her show, day after day, paraded royal commentators, tabloid columnists, and so-called experts, many of whom built their careers on attacking Meghan's every move. Did Lorraine challenge them? No. Did she hold them accountable? Absolutely not. Instead, she played the genial host, nodded along, smiled politely, and in doing so, gave credibility and legitimacy to the vile rhetoric spewed on her program. And make no mistake, this was not an isolated moment or one-off lapse. This was a pattern. Over and over again, Lorraine allowed her platform to serve as an echo chamber for the most toxic elements of British tabloid culture. And now, seeing which way the wind is blowing, she wants to pretend none of it ever happened. And the double standards, they're glaring. Just think about the endless praise she's lavished on Kate Middleton. Every public appearance, no matter how staged or trivial, showered with glowing admiration. Look how elegant, how poised, how dignified. It didn't matter what Kate did. Lorraine's coverage was unfailingly flattering. Compare that to her treatment of Meghan Markle. When Meghan used her platform to promote charity work, the tone was icy. When Meghan raised awareness about mental health, the coverage was, cynical. When she supported the survivors of Grenfell Tower with her cookbook, it was met with suspicion and constant undermining. This isn't journalism. It isn't fairness. It's about enforcing a hierarchy, about punishing Meghan for daring to be an independent, outspoken woman of color within an archaic system that demands obedience and silence. And now Lorraine wants to turn the page. She wants us to forget her complicity and embrace this new supportive version of herself, as though years of damage can be swept away with a few kind words. But this is not genuine allyship. It's calculated PR, plain and simple. What's more insidious is how this new narrative attempts to gaslight the public. It's a rewrite of history designed to protect Lorraine's own reputation. But here's the thing. Audiences are no longer as naive as the British media elite think they are. People remember. The internet remembers. And while Lorraine remains comfortably seated in her TV studio, Meghan Markle, the woman she once helped tear down, has risen above the hate. Let's not forget, Meghan faced a level of abuse and hostility that would have broken many. She endured racist smear campaigns, tabloid lies, public betrayals, and an utterly toxic palace media alliance, all while coping with severe mental health struggles and the tragedy of miscarriage. Yet through all of that, she survived. She didn't crumble. She built a life beyond the reach of the tabloids, standing tall on her own terms. And that is something Lorraine Kelly, for all her polished smiles, will never truly understand. Meghan's strength doesn't come from PR spin or media approval. It comes from resilience, integrity, and inner conviction. And that's exactly why Lorraine's empty rebrand is falling so flat. Viewers see through the act. They recognize that the same people now preaching kindness are the ones who happily watched Meghan be brutalized when it suited their agendas. Where was this compassion when Meghan was pregnant and pleading for fair treatment? Where was it when she was driven to the brink of despair? Nowhere. Because back then, tearing her down brought ratings. And that's what mattered most to Lorraine's camp. But times are changing. Audiences are growing wiser. They're demanding accountability. And honestly, no amount of crocodile tears can erase the years Lorraine and her ilk spent feeding the outrage machine. So when you hear these sudden calls for kindness, don't be fooled. This is not about empathy. It's about salvaging careers, about clinging to relevance in a world that's finally waking up to how poisonous the old media game has been. And for that reason, we are not going to forget. We will continue to call out the hypocrisy and to stand in support of those who've been unjustly targeted. Thank you so much for watching. If you believe in holding the media accountable, if you value truth over spin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think, because this conversation is far from over. Until next time, stay sharp, stay critical, and above all, stay true.